kicking down the door. Run it up, check the scope. Money talk, money mo. What? Main crew say they with it. Kicking down the door. Let's go. Had to switch the whole lane when I'm driving the machine.
What is going on? Two things already starting off the show. Late. Finally got this little baby girl down. She's actually not asleep. I'm looking at the monitor right now as she's thrashing in her crib, so I might have to sprint off to take care of that. And then I hate when I hit the wrong dang button after the countdown. I'm supposed to hit the intro, and I hit the countdown button again. Takes me off. I'm supposed to have this thing figured out by now. It's been dang near 2 years. But what's going on this NBA Western Conference Wednesday Heavy Pour Sports Late Night Takes Live? Gents, this is one hell of a series, man. I know y'all were talking before the show when I was dealing with this this infant. The West is going to be run by San Antonio and OKC for the next decade, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's the whole NBA. The East is super weak anyway. But even if it comes up, man, we haven't seen teams like this. I mean, this is just different. And like
they're young, man.
They're young, and OKC still has the draft picks coming up. I don't know what San Antonio. I don't know that they have anything, but they're young enough it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, so you have a generational talent dude in Wemby who's going to continue to get better.
He's more than that to me. He's beyond generational.
By that? Oh yeah,
this isn't like we see you once a decade type thing. This is we have never seen you before.
Exactly. Yeah,
unlikely to see you again.
Yeah, he's one of one. For sure.
And he's kind of who people thought Porzingis was going to be a little bit, right? Like Porzingis came in and he was 7'4" and he could shoot and all that. So he's like Porzingis 2.0 from what everybody thought Porzingis was going to be.
Porzingis just couldn't stay healthy. I don't think he lived up to the hype regardless, but then just couldn't stay healthy because he was so big. And I think that's what was impressive about Wemby is you go back and look at his story. And I mean, his parents had this freak, who was playing basketball. And ever since he was a kid, they've been working on mobility and ankle movement and protecting his feet and all the things that ruin 7'5" plus big men. They've been able to, kind of mitigate those things, and he seemingly stayed healthy. And I'm sure if it lasts for another decade, 15 years, you'll have to put him in the greatest of all time conversation just because of what his God-given, abilities are and his height and all the things that he could do at 7'5", and he's just going to get even better.
Who was that just going in the tunnel? I missed who that was.
Dylan Harper, I think.
What do you do?
They divided heads, him and Chet Holmgren or something.
You said they hit heads?
I think they hit heads, or Holmgren was holding it. I didn't see it. I was paying attention to the show, but
yeah, I missed it.
Something happened. Holmgren was holding his head, and then I don't know if Dylan Harper was as well, but yeah, he just went back. So I wasn't paying attention. I wish I was.
Yeah, I was sitting here agreeing with Rando for once.
Yeah, but I wrote the date and time down here too. So
we're going to etch that one in stone because that's a rarity. Yeah. Right there.
5:20 at 9:13 Central.
That's right. But before we move on, y'all, I'm assuming did y'all watch a double overtime game?
Yeah, that game was awesome. I mean, back and forth, they were trading buckets. The defensive plays that we were seeing out of both sides down the stretch were incredible. The Thunder, I mean, Shea was, the Thunder were calling up like incredible plays to get Wemby out so Shea could go attack the basket. He had two strong takes to the rim, buckets down there, late. And then the pull up by Wemby in transition that everybody's talking about, like that was to see a 7'4" dude pull up like Steph Curry in transition and no hesitation, and it was straight cash.
Yeah, I got it right here. I want to show it. Can y'all see it on the screen?
Not right now.
Green room.
Oh, I got to add it, I guess, huh? How the heck did I do that?
But to see that, like, I was just speechless.
This is if they win this series and championship, this is the shot. That I mean, this is the Steph Curry 3. This is boom. This is the Kyrie 3. Just to have the nuts to pull that shot off overtime. If he misses it, they probably lose the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely do unless they get the rebound and something happens. But they had no numbers down there to get a rebound anyway.
Yeah, I mean, impressive shot.
He's a freak.
And was that his first 3-point attempt of the game? I know it was only 3 of the game, but I think that was his first attempt.
Yeah, I believe
it very well could have been. One. That's usually.
We got Joshy Boy in the comments. Let me add him up on here. But then
Joshy Boy always want to tell us what somebody not gonna do. Tell us what somebody is gonna do. Joshy Boy.
Yeah, he's the resident hater. It looked like Dylan Harper's going to run back. Just had to go
hater.
Yeah, there.
We love you though, resident hater.
But the game last night, I mean, shoot, that was a 22-point game. You're like, all right, Eastern Conference is going to stink, and then Jalen Brunson just does. I mean, ultimate collapse by the Cavs. And I feel like we have not talked about it, but it has been talked about with James Harden and just his inability to defend. The Cavs deciding to give the rock and the pick and roll to Harden and let him facilitate instead of giving it to Donovan Mitchell in the game to just close it. You get one bucket there, and you able to win the game. But yeah, Jalen Brunson just did what he did. In 22-point comeback, 44-11 run, including overtime. It's unbelievable what the Knicks did, and I don't know how the Cavs come back for that, to be honest.
I think the Knicks are like the Thunder and Spurs. They're not as good, but they're like that in the Eastern Conference. Like, if you're talking talent-wise and those things, like, they're a lot better. I mean, the Cavs are good. Like, don't get me wrong, they're talented. They have a lot of really good pieces. But in terms of just the NBA game and what they can do there, like, the Knicks just seem like the team to beat in the East. Another thing that was crazy, and like I almost turned it off the way the game was going, is like you see the Cavs just like Hack-a-Shaq and Mitchell Robinson. Now I get it because he can't shoot free throws, but like that, just conference finals, and we're seeing that stuff go on like that. That's kind of unfortunate, but like Brunson went in straight takeover mode. He was incredible down the stretch there, and I think the Cavs can compete, make a series. I mean, obviously, like we'll see tomorrow night will be a huge tell of that. Like if the Knicks come out and they play well and they dominate majority of the game, then you're kind of sitting there like, this thing might be over in 5. So it's hard to see or it's hard to tell like what we see in game 1 of how that translates to the series. I think this one, with the Spurs and Thunder, we're seeing it like we're going to get as many games as this series goes of like full on competitiveness, trading baskets, high level defense, high level shot making. So we'll see what the Eastern Conference holds. This series is way more appealing and a lot more fun to watch than the Cavs and Knicks. And Shea just, made a dude fall and then hit a, half turnaround, mid-range pull-up. That was nasty.
Yeah, the league needs the Knicks in the finals with either San Antonio or Oklahoma City going to be there. They really need the Knicks to be in the finals.
Just to your point about the markets, though, like, the Thunder aren't a huge market team, but when you're talking like NBA, like they're turning into a small market team that can, everybody wants to tune in and watch them just because of how good at basketball that they've played over the last 2 years. I mean, if you're a basketball fan, like watching the Thunder, they have all this talent, and you can say what you want about Shea and he's unwatchable or whatever, but like they're fun to watch. Shea's fun to watch regardless of the fouls or free throws or whatever. Like his creativity and the way he moves and the way he can attack the basket and pull up from mid-range, and then you got Chet flying around if he plays well, and like the dunk he just had and making threes and all these things. So regardless, I think we're going to get a good series anyways. But I think with who could come out of the West, I think we would all prefer to see the Knicks in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I've got a very dear friend, love her to death, that's a diehard Cleveland fan. But, for the Cavs got two things going against them. One, they're playing the Knicks, and the league would very much prefer the Knicks to be there. And two, James Harden is a turnover and defensive liability machine. Like, for all the good he does distributing the ball, and he can catch fire and get hot.
He's a possession ender too. He holds onto the ball a ton. The next thing you know, he's dribbling with 5 seconds on the clock and trying to hit a step back.
Bad shots. Yeah. And the Knicks can force you into that anyway. They don't need help. And so I really think they're gonna struggle to be competitive. And I don't know. I mean, it didn't look like it last night, but I don't know that the Knicks don't win it in gentleman sweep it at the worst. I just don't think Cleveland's got the horses to hang with this Knicks team. And Harden's liability it'll continue to.
Yeah, I mean they had a gimme steal game one, at least leave with a 1-1 going back to Cleveland. Maybe you have a puncher's chance. But dropping that one like that, maybe you get angry Donovan Mitchell. He can carry you for a game or two. But yeah, I think the Knicks are gonna they're just a better team. And I heard y'all talking about Harden. He's someone who can play well in the regular season. It's tough to match up with him, but in a 7-game series, I think he's consistently shown you can figure out ways to slow him down or just let him hammer, like you said, turn the ball over a lot or just shoot himself out of a game, right? Because he's just going to take bad shots, dribble the ball down, like Drew said. I think it was Steve Kerr who mentioned in their series in Golden State when he was with Houston, where they just literally counted how many dribbles he had in a possession.
Well,
we're just going to focus.
It was the Knicks coach, Mike Brown. He said it after the game.
That's right.
Last night
when he was coaching with Steve Kerr. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They would do what now?
That Mike Brown pretty much said something along the lines of like, I remember when we were in Golden State, like, wow, what a lob. That when we were in Golden State, we were doing this or that in terms of like guarding and preparing for James Harden and like the way they want to guard him and the way they want to play him and that kind of stuff. Pretty much, I think it was actually about Harden on defense, if I'm not wrong, but I can't remember the exact quote or the context behind it, but it was something along the lines of when he was in Golden State, they were calling out Harden for something.
And it talked about his offensive possessions, how many dribbles he has in a possession. The ball just kind of sticks on him, and they can focus on him like on the offensive side where he's literally dribbling like 1,000 times in a game, and there's not a lot of ball movement going. So they almost wanted to get the ball in James Harden's hands and not let it flow through the offense, and have like the freedom of movement, ball have energy, that sort of thing. Because when it gets to Harden, it just sticks, and it was actually easier to defend him when it got there.
Well, that was their offense in Houston, right? They did not have sets. It was literally give James Harden the ball and go. More, I mean, we see it with other teams, kind of. We see it with OKC and Shea and all that, but I have never seen it to that extent. It's literally just give Harden the ball, even more than LeBron. Like, just give Harden the ball and just go. Also, Chet might be the most unlikable player in the entire league. More than
For sure.
More than Dylan Brooks or anybody. Like,
I've been preaching this for the only reason why OKC keeps him is if they think he's actually someone who can match up and be and slow Wemby down. But if they're going to continue to put Caruso and others on Wemby, I don't understand why you had trade away Chet in the contract. Go get someone like Nate Ament. I know he's not the same, but 6'10" guy, someone like that who can provide you the same sort of offensive game, probably better defensively, probably better offensively too once Nate gets there. But there's no reason to keep Chet on this roster. He is just someone who you win a championship with. He's not someone who is like a championship caliber player, in my personal opinion. I hate on him for years.
He's not. I mean, it's SGA and Jalen Williams are their top two. I mean, he's the third option at best. And if your third option is a fairly skilled 7'2" dude, like that's an asset. I know you don't like him. I don't like him, but he's a net positive on the court.
Well, and we see like Chet's really good outside of when they play the Spurs. Like he's the biggest problem with the Thunder when they play the Spurs because for whatever reason, he's just not. That was a terrible turnover. He's just not like, and then Kaysen gets it back. He's just not like equipped to guard Wembanyama, and that's a problem. Like if he's gonna stay on the Thunder and the Thunder are gonna keep being the Thunder, like at some point Chet's gonna have to figure out a way to be able to match up with Wembanyama, or at least just make it tough on him. Like you're not gonna shut him down and hold him to 10 points and 5 rebounds, but at least make it challenging on him. The problem is now you saw on. In game one, like they have Caruso and Jalen Williams guarding him. Like that's not sustainable. And then you see it like that's why Wembanyama had as big of a game as he did scoring wise and rebounding because it's a complete mismatch, not only scoring wise, but also rebounding. Like Wembanyama, all he has to do is get close to the basket and stick as high as he can. So Chet's going to have to get better at that. But he's also a good player. I mean, if they were going to trade him away, they would need a huge package back for him.
I mean, and maybe you get that, but you talk about he's their third option at best. He's got a $250 million fully guaranteed contract that in the next season next 3 seasons they got to pay him $50 million plus per year. It's like he ain't worth that. If he's going to be your third, I'm telling you, get this guy going. If you want to be great and compete with the Spurs and consistently beat the Spurs, I think you got to get better at that third option because you got Dylan Harper, you got Wemby, Fox, Keldon coming off the bench. There's more talent right now, I think, collectively on the Spurs.
Like, he's balling too. Like, the Spurs are good and they're young, so they're going to keep on competing. But the Thunder is still the team to beat in the Western Conference until they get taken down.
For sure. You got to beat the champ to be the champ. So, and Spurs have that opportunity. Hammer, do you hold the same disdain for Chet Holmgren that I do? I just don't understand. I have not understand all the hype. Yes, he is a good player, but he consistently just disappears, right? He just where is Chet Holmgren at? Like game one, he just is non-existent. You have to have Caruso be the number 2 guy to carry the team when Shea is having an off night. What do you feel about Chet?
I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and say this, but I kind of thought he was a little overrated coming out of college anyway. He's got the measurables, and that carries a lot of weight, in the NBA, period. More so even, I think, than the other league, NFL, Major League Baseball. Because every NBA GM and coach thinks, just give me a guy that's this size or is this fast or this quick, and we can teach them what we need them to know, right? So they just want more so the physical. I mean, he's performed better over the course of his short career than what I kind of thought he would. So I do have to eat a little crow with that, but I still feel like he's overvalued, and there's no way I feel like he's worth the kind of money that they paid him. So I kind of tend to agree with you on that, Rando. I'm just not a fan, and that might be a little bit of part of the influence in my opinion. But I'm with you. I feel like that they could probably ship him off somewhere, get some draft capital, free up a little money, and probably have somebody that suits their team better. Not to say that he's not a good NBA player. I just don't think he's a cornerstone player.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, like, if you're the Thunder, I mean, some of it with the contracts is like his, play and the fact that he won a championship and stuff, but like he's also a really good third option on a team. And not that it matters to the Thunder, but he's never going to be a number 1 on an NBA roster either because, with his game, like he needs a good guard around him. So if you're the Thunder, you've won a lot of games with him in the organization. you're better off just keeping him as long as like Shea wants him there and things keep working out. And if you're Chet, like, why would you want to leave anyways? Because you're in a perfect situation for probably your game, number one, but number two, your career. If they keep making the finals or conference finals every year and Shea continues.
Oh, no way Chet wants to leave. I mean, he just got a guaranteed contract. He's getting carried all season. There's no way he wants to leave. I'm saying, Sam Presti capitalizing on getting rid of a contract and getting new draft capital and getting young and staying young. That's what he's been wanting to do. I think you're right, Drew. I think they keep him. I'm just saying I would if I was Sam Presti, I would put feelers out. Like, what can we get for this dude? Can I get another first? Can I do the Paul George thing again and stack first over the next couple of years?
Yeah, it's going to be tough to find somebody willing to take that contract, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because they got to take it on. But also, like, we'll see it in, I think it's next year or the year after. Like, Hartenstein's not going to be back at some point. So, like, what do the Thunder do, when Hartenstein's gone? Like, could that maybe be when they make the move to, like, completely change the front court? Because Chet's probably not an NBA 5. Like, he's better suited at the 4. So, like, could they maybe just go get an entire new front court? I don't know, but we'll see. He's good, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's a superstar or anything, but he's a really good third option, and they've won a lot of games with him. So, surely, I mean, he's got to be doing something right, I guess.
Yeah, the latest draft
7'1", that's what he's doing right.
The Spurs taking Morez Johnson from Michigan, 6'9". So.
He'd be a good.
We were talking about the Spurs a minute ago. I had that pulled up. Sorry, we're on the. I'm behind. We're on
That's
the Thunder
fair.
now.
Is Nate still projected to go to OKC, or is he climbing?
It looks like
I see him.
It looks like everything's pointing to Milwaukee, which we talked about a few weeks ago. That I thought that might be a possibility, and that may be a telltale sign of the departure of one Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
If they did draft Nate. So
this is a side note, but to me, Giannis doesn't have a ton of value like he would have a couple years ago. All he can do is drive. He's never gotten better at shooting. He's like in my opinion, he's like a poor man's LeBron. And at least LeBron made it so that he could at least shoot a 3. Nobody cares.
Serviceable shooter, yeah.
Nobody cares if Giannis shoots. He's getting older, so he's not going to be able to just power through everybody anymore, and so he doesn't have that kind of value to me. So if you're Milwaukee, you got to be smart about this. Get your feelings out of it. Go ahead and get some value for Giannis.
I think there's a couple of teams that would value him as Giannis. Like the Celtics would probably value him. I know there's actually been some trade talks potentially between them to send Jaylen Brown out there. I think the Warriors, like if they could make a move for Giannis, like they would put some value in there, because those teams they're not really close compared to the Spurs or the Thunder and like the trajectory of those organizations. But if you add a Giannis with what else they have, it makes them a lot more in the conversation than where they're at now. So like there's a couple of teams.
Giannis is Jimmy. Like they're the same. Yeah. Jimmy gives you more than Giannis does, in my opinion. Like I'd rather
if you replace Giannis or if you replace Draymond with Giannis, you upgrade. I think it depends on what you have to give up for him, right?
Yeah.
So like,
and I thought the Warriors, right before the trade deadline, I thought the Warriors were one of
they pushed really hard for him.
The landing spot that he might end up, and I guess they just weren't willing to give up enough or didn't have enough. And I think the Bucks were smart about it, waiting until this year because teams are going to have more draft capital to work with. Plus, they've got an idea of what the draft's going to look like. So, the Bucks played it well, but I just don't know. To your point, Rando, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the price tag that they're asking for.
I don't think he's worth it. Somebody would overpay, but whatever they're going to end up paying, I don't think he's.
If the Warriors think they've got one more left in them, one more run with Steph. Butler will be back healthy.
Porzingis
would be hard pressed to find a better situation for him to go to.
Yeah, Porzingis would probably be in that deal too. I'm guessing he would be shipped in that trade package. But Giannis
was Harrison Barnes.
Giannis and Steph as a duo would be pretty nasty to watch.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Like Giannis is not a playmaker. He's not a very good passer. Like Draymond fits better with Steph. Now what Giannis can do if you just put Steph on the other side of the court, and now Giannis still has a whole lot of open space and people can't build that wall against them, then it can work. But it doesn't do a lot for Steph. It does a lot more, I think, for Giannis than it does for Steph.
Well, it can because of the gravity that Giannis holds down the paint. Like if they're running a pick and roll and Giannis is rolling and Steph's coming off of that, like how do you even guard that? Like, because you can't guard it one-on-one and you can't switch either because that's an immediate dump off to Giannis and he's dunking it on a 6'4" guard. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help the playmaking necessarily, but it can because of the gravity that Giannis holds. And it would help Steph as a playmaker. I mean, the easy dump offs and lobs and things that Steph would be able to give to Giannis.
But that's why I don't think he holds that much gravity anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like I think folks are going to be more willing to just go one-on. Like he's still Giannis, like, but he's not what he was 2 or 3 years ago. And I think you're more willing to take a chance to guard him one-on-one as opposed to 3-on-1 like it was like in his prime, because he's not there anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I still think the Giannis is still in. I mean, the one thing is like we haven't seen the Bucks play serious basketball in like 2 years either.
Yeah.
So like
that's
fair.
You know, like how motivated has Giannis really been? Like all it takes is that new life to get Giannis back, and then the next thing you know, it's still Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's out there dominating and steps around.
There is potential for that. But I always liked the Jimmy fit because Jimmy will score, but he's a playmaker in like by heart, and so I thought that was a really good fit with Steph. He can't shoot well enough, but I think Jimmy's a really good fit.
Yeah, you just got to
like
stop
Jimmy
to shoot us around.
Yeah, I knew the Bucks weren't a serious organization when they traded Drew Holiday. So
100%. I was yelling it from the rooftops. Dame is a downgrade. Like yeah.
Drew's leadership and defensive prowess. No, he's very unselfish, and that is not the case with.
They won.
I like Dame. I'm not dogging him. It's just not a good fit for that team.
I'm not a Dame fan. Rando knows it. I am not a Dame fan. Yeah. And it's not that he can't play. I'm not here to say that he can't play ball, but I think he is the most overrated player like in the history.
They thought if they surrounded him with a shooter.
Portland, so
yeah.
He has no business being on the top 75 list. That's for sure. But
I agree with that.
Here's the thing, like Drew Holiday can give you everything that you need offensively. Like that, if needed.
He does enough.
I would rather have Drew Holiday's 16 points a game and 6 assists, 7 defense than Dame's 24 points, 2 assists, and getting
no defense.
Yeah.
0 defense. Him and James Harden play about the same amount of defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, now they're teammates together in Portland, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's just
Well,
Doc is overvalued, right? I think people know it now, but he's overvalued. Dame is overvalued. There goes Joshy boy with his negativity.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we'll get into the rundown real quick before we get into like the serious stuff. What do we think about Will Wade right now? And college basketball was a mockery. Thanks to Nate Oates last year and what he was doing with Bediaka and some of the and others pulling in G League guys / NBA dudes. But what Will Wade is doing right now and pulling dudes who have spent years, multiple NBA teams on around, not just two-way guys, but like playing. When are we going to put some limitations on it? Because Will Wade is just in Louisiana, in the Bayou, laughing. He's doing everything that he was doing before when it was illegal. Now there's just no stipulation. He's just doing whatever the hell he wants to. But like, is it one of those things where, hey, until they put some limitations or actual rules on it, coaches do what you got to do to put together a roster? Or do you think there's got to be coaches have to have some accountability for upholding the integrity of the game and not dipping your toe in those waters, even though it's available to you?
Well, there is rules in place, and those rules say that once you declare and go through the draft process, you are no longer eligible to play college basketball. So I don't know what in the hell is going on, Rando. And if anybody in this country as a D1 head coach does not need to be sticking their toes in the water, it's this asshole.
Yeah,
FBI investigation.
Number one, I thought Jeff Goodman actually laid out. He was very harsh, I guess, yesterday on the field of 68. And I'm not the biggest Goodman guy all the time, but he went in on Will Wade.
Yeah, he did.
Which was great to see. I think number one, it's just. I think the point that he laid out, like it's shitty for the sport of college basketball, like to go down this road. Even if it is ruled eligible or even if it's ruled ineligible, like no matter what, it's just the thought of what happened. And sure, do what you want, try to push the rules, whatever. But like, this is, we're never going to find a solution in college sports if these are the kind of things that we're doing. And only Will Wade would do it. And I just want to say this too. Like everybody always talks about Will Wade, like he's some kind of coaching gangster and he wins all these games and he's one of the best coaches in college basketball. He's not famous for what he's done as a college basketball coach. He's famous for being, truthfully, a scumbag in the sport of college basketball.
He's infamous, not famous. He's infamous.
And people, LSU fans, whatever, they always act like Will Wade's this crazy coach, and the reality of it is the only reason he's popular is because every year we have to look up and say, like, of course Will Wade's doing this. Like, it's almost what we heard back in the day with like what the perception around Cal when Kentucky hired him, and in the first couple of years at Kentucky of like, just the way that the national people look at coaches. Like everybody was like, oh, Cal's paying these players and he's doing all these illegal things and he's got all these one and dones. Like this is ruining the sport. And sure, maybe it did at the time. It also changed the sport of college basketball forever because everybody followed and started taking one and done guys. I don't see college basketball following Will Wade and taking a guy that will be 26 years old next year in college basketball. It should not happen. I doubt it will happen. But we know how these things go. They hire an LSU donor judge in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And the next
for the right judge. All you got to do.
Yep. So the NCAA needs to crack down on. I think Goodman laid out a really good point, actually, is saying, like, if this is what you want to do, then the committee has the right to, once he is deemed ineligible, because he will at some point, he will be ruled ineligible at some point, like we saw with Bediako. Any game that these handful of guys that are past these windows and stuff, it should be viewed upon as a loss for the tournament selection. And I think somebody else laid the point out on the field of 68 as well, saying, like, if you're a high major coach, especially in the non-conference, don't schedule them. If you don't schedule them and nobody schedules them, well, then how are they going to get a big enough resume to even get in the tournament unless they went on an absolute tear in SEC play? So it's scumbaggish, if that's even a word. It pisses me off, like, just as not even as a Kentucky fan in the same conference as LSU, but just as a college basketball fan. Like, what are we doing? And like, you can say the rules are this or the rules are that, but at the end of the day, like, at some point you got to have some integrity and some like respect for the game if you're a college head coach. And there's plenty of coaches out there who have pushed the buttons, but this is way worse than what we saw from Scott Drew with James Najee and Bediako with or Nate Oates with Bediako. Like, this is an entire team, or like 95% of the team. This is a whole nother level, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think this so twofold. I don't think Will Wade went and built his roster with the intention of being a scumbag like you mentioned, or just making a mockery. I think he got there and he didn't do well in the portal, and people didn't want to play for him, and he was forced. Yeah, he was forced to go get these players and try to bend the rules. And Joshy Boy, is in the chat talking about It's a different time. NCAA can bend the rules. I very much believe the NCAA, they were against NIL for such a long time, right? They didn't want to pay players. They wanted to stick with this amateurism word, which isn't a word. it's not, especially when you talk about these sports that are making millions and millions of dollars.
Unless you play rugby, or rowing.
It's not what the sport has been for a very, very long time. It's been a $1 billion business for a long time. But when NIL and they got beat out for it, and they were forced to start figuring this thing out, I think they like the fact that it's getting so out of control, because they're more like, told you it was dumb, right? There wasn't guardrails put on it. NIL became this crazy thing where, $60,000 was the first, contracts that were out. Now we're looking at $6 million for Milan potentially. And I think there's folks at NCAA, the big wigs in Indianapolis are like, we're just going to let this thing get out of control and make someone, whether it's, the Senate and Congress and the government gets involved or whatever, they're just going to let this thing spiral, because it's almost like I told you so.
And the problem is, though, really quickly, is the NCAA has lost a lot of power, though, which is the worry for me, is they've lost a lot of power, and we're now in an era that's the player empowerment era, and it's going to be really, I mentioned it on Saturday, and it's not really hard, but the problem is like, how does the NCAA even crack down on these things, and can they even legally now? Because we're in the era of lawsuits, and like, that's the biggest issue that I have in general, is like, everything now is snap of a finger, there's a lawsuit, and it's like, what are we doing? What happened to the sports?
I want Hammer to talk about it, because he mentioned this during the tournament time. There is a way NCAA can get involved. They own the tournament.
Yeah, they can decide who gets invited and who doesn't. Let's rewind back a couple years, or a few years, to when the NCAA came knocking on Tennessee's door, because they were trying to say that the volleyball player got some type of improper NIL benefit, blah, 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 whatever. And Tennessee collectively punched him in the mouth. And then everybody saw, the NCAA's all bark, no bite. And it's just what Drew said. Then they just lost any power, and nobody was afraid of them anymore. And now all you got to do is get an injunction, a temporary injunction, whenever they say, oh, no, this guy's ineligible. So they challenge it, they file a lawsuit, and then they request a temporary injunction. That temporary injunction allows that player to play until proven ineligible in court by the NCAA. And we all know that, court moves so quickly, and we have a right to a speedy trial. We just don't have the ability to provide one. So that's where the NCAA they have no shot of doing it. But if Charlie Baker has a single hair on his nutsack, he will look these teams like the LSUs and the Alabamas and anybody else that wants to bring in a former NBA player. And I don't care what league they played in, whether it was G League, the main league, the women's league, the League of Nations, the Justice League. I don't care what league. If they entered their name and they went through the process of the NBA draft, by NCAA rule, they are ineligible to play. But if you jokers want to play them, go ahead, and your ass will be watching the tournament from home.
Exactly. Go play in the Crown Jewel or whatever the heck is out there that they're making up now. But yeah, because that's the money thing. Like, you can play a whole 30-some games of a regular season, and if you don't make the tournament, what does it matter? What does it matter? Right. And then you're going to start. I think if you do that, donors are going to be like, well, I'm not giving you money to go get these guys if we can't play, right? Like, there's going to have a ripple effect. But the NCAA has to get involved that way and put the thing on it. It'd be the same on the football side. Well, guess what? You can go undefeated. You ain't making the college football playoff, which is where all the money is and where all the prestige is. That's where you want to get to. Play a full regular season, but you're not playing the postseason, right? You don't get a bowl game. You get none of those things. It
won't be the equivalent of the death penalty, but it'll be life without parole. We'll let you stay around, but we're not going to let you play. What
do you think about it, T?
Unless you win anything.
I completely agree with y'all. I heard it put well earlier today that Will Wade is just a symptom of the real problem, and the real problem lies with the NCAA. And so you're also right. They're just going to sit on their hands and not do anything. But that is the easy way to get in front of it. Like, hey, go ahead and let you guys play and all that. Just you as a team are not eligible for the postseason, or not the real postseason anyway. The one that matters. I think that's a very simple solution. They won't do it because if and when they try that, that's when, like, the Big Ten and the SEC are this close from leaving anyway. And then once you do that, then they're just going to leave. And so the NCAA, that's their cash cow. So the NCAA don't want to lose them, so they won't do anything. But this is their fault for having lost control anyway.
I just want to know where they pivot to if half of these guys are ruled ineligible. Like, where do they even go to get to field a roster? I mean,
they're going to go to the LSU intramural champs.
Yeah, they're going to be digging deep in the portal, and I guess they could. I mean, they're in on like Ryan Hampton and stuff. Like, I guess they could pull off that reclass or something. But I mean, they'd be screwed if half of these guys get ruled ineligible. Which, I mean, as of right now, 2 should be ruled ineligible off the bat. The dude that's going to be 26, and then RJ Lewis, who people literally told him last year, come back to college in the transfer portal. Yeah. Kentucky was tied to him, and he was like, no, I'm going to the draft. And look how that turned out. So sometimes make sure you're making the right decision when you have options before making, thinking you're better than everybody or whatever and making the wrong decision.
Does Greg Sankey get involved?
That's interesting. I haven't even thought about that, but like,
he didn't get involved when Nate Oates did it, so I don't see him getting involved in this. I think he's just gonna. He's Pontius Pilate on this, man. He's just I ain't getting involved in this.
Trying to wash his hands of it.
Yeah, buddy.
What's he gonna do?
Nothing to do with this.
Take LSU off the you're just gonna say LSU basketball can't compete this year? Like, man, that takes
tournament ineligible, postseason ineligible is what they should be deemed. If one of those jokers steps foot on that court and the whistle blows and the clock starts running, they should be ineligible for postseason play, period. Yeah. That includes the SEC tournament.
The NCAA and not even just not from Sankey in the SEC. I mean, that would have to come from the NCAA.
It would.
But, man, I don't know. I mean, it just – yeah.
And I wouldn't care if this was University of Alaska Juneau and the Fighting Gnomes were the one pulling this crap. It doesn't matter who it is. The fact is it's wrong. Thing. Yeah, I don't care who it is. And people can say, oh, well, you're playing in the same conference. You don't want to – well, no, I don't want to play those guys, number one, because they're not eligible. But two, it doesn't matter where it is, where it's happening. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And there are clear rules against it.
And I don't think Sankey gets involved either, but I do think he has the ability to do something as the commissioner. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe with all the Michigan stuff, when Harbaugh was there in post, it was the Big Ten who came to Michigan like, we're going to get ahead of the NCAA, and we're going to, the coach gets suspended. We're going to put fines. We're going to do all these things before the NCAA get involved to hope that we can say, hey, we already did some stuff. NCAA, you don't have to come out there and take our championship. You don't have to, take away our wins.
Exactly. We've already what that was about, protecting that championship.
Right. But so I think it's out there that say he could do something if he wanted to. I don't think he's going to. I
don't think he is either.
But yeah, I do think if the right answer would for him to get involved somehow. But like you said, with the Alabama thing and other things that happen in football, it was Joshy Boy put in the chat, like, does Sankey get involved with Georgia football and be like, hey, how about we get our players to stop going 47 miles an hour over the speed limit and getting pulled over? Like, good grief. Something that Kirby's teaching, man. Those Blood Tuesdays that he does is just getting folks to and Kirby's got to start paying Athens PD or something like, hey, guys, next time this happens, give me a call. Let's stop putting these dudes in jail, all right?
I mean, it's already 200 times too late, though. Like, It happens every single day. It's crazy.
But all right, so we'll transition here. Hammer postseason baseball. We'll talk about it real quick. Started off, was it today or yesterday? It started.
Yesterday.
SEC tournament. Yesterday tournament. All right.
Correct.
So Tennessee got off to a hot start. I saw that they won. I haven't really kept up with much of it, but I'm going to ask you if you can give us a quick rundown of SEC baseball postseason real quick.
Yeah, well, it started yesterday. Missouri pulled off an upset, knocked out Ole Miss. Unfortunately, Peabody put your Wildcats out. Tennessee beat South Carolina. LSU also upset Oklahoma. So a couple surprises there in the first round. But then it kind of fell by the chalk today. You had Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas beat Tennessee. They're advancing. And then if Auburn were to beat LSU, which should expect to see that, then we will have the top 8 seeds in the Elite 8, if you will, of the SEC baseball tournament. So if you expected the top teams based on ranking to be there, then you're dead on it, because that's exactly what is taking place. So Arkansas, Texas is going to be a pretty good matchup, though. I hate them both. And Florida,
we talked about
that's another one that just despise. So
we talked about it on Saturday. Coach Evans was talking about it. Coach Ryan mentioned it as well, and it was saying that if Kentucky didn't get at least a win in the tournament, they potentially could find themselves out of the big, your regionals, I guess, to get to the College Baseball World Series. Is that how you think it played out? Is Kentucky's postseason run is over, and we'll be looking towards next season for baseball, or maybe we get lucky and get into a regional?
Well, I think it's a chip in a chair chance, if you want to put it into poker terms. It would take something catastrophic happening somewhere else in the country, because we looked at it over this past I think Saturday. We talked about it. Kentucky was potentially a 3 seed in the Atlanta region, which would be hosted by Georgia Tech. But understand, a 3 seed for a Power 5 team is very much a bubble seed. It's like an 8 or 9 seed in the basketball tournament. So if there is another team that has better metrics, better wins, better RPI, then they're going to get that spot over Kentucky. Vanderbilt, I think, still out, so we can at least celebrate that.
Well, bummer. I really started getting involved in Kentucky baseball in the postseason. It seems like that's not going to happen this game.
I mean, there's still a chance, like I said, but I think there's going to have to be some catastrophe happen elsewhere around the other conference tournaments for that to be the case. So,
all right.
Sorry.
And with that was our quick 5 minutes of baseball, and we move on. Malachi Moreno. Big old eye tweet. He said, "Look over here," while he was in California. I think he was in Rodeo, and then pushed out some eye tweets. What does it mean, Drew? Is he coming back? What does it mean?
Man, I hope so, because I hope he did not put that and stays in the draft. Like that's a recipe right there to just get BBN hating on you for 6 months. I mean, it would be like the Reed Shepherd wearing an Arkansas shirt. I just hope so, out of the sake of his social media and the comments and stuff. It was definitely interesting. Like, who knows what the hell he was talking about when he put that out. I'll just take the confident approach and say that he was teasing something. But yeah, I hope he didn't put that out and stays in the draft, because that's not going to age very well.
Yeah, his IG story, I think, was from the same day, and he was going down Rodeo Drive. So who knows what it meant? I know everybody immediately rushed to, he's returning. It's a tweet that's like, eyes out, he's coming back. It probably had nothing to do with that, but I think even Malachi knows he put something like that, it's going to get the fan base spun up. I don't think I think he loves Kentucky too much to do that intentionally and not come back. I still feel like he is going to come back. I'm still nervous about that Lakers pick. I'm still nervous about that 23 or 25 range he's being projected in. But as more centers stay in the draft and kind of push him back, that's good news for Kentucky. Long story short, I think all in all, the eye didn't mean a damn thing, but I hope it meant he's coming back. And I think most of BBN thought the same thing. But we have 5 more days? 25th or 27th? He's had to pull himself out.
27th, I believe, next Wednesday.
Okay, so we got a week. So we'll be talking about it. We talk about it on the show next week. And the show has had very good success. Show days equal boom days. All right, so maybe we get a boom next Wednesday. Malachi comes back.
Let's also hope it's not like a midnight decision and we get an Instagram post. Like let's have it happen at like 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. in the afternoon or something. Like let's not have all BBN, sitting up at midnight, refreshing their phones, seeing what happens. But yeah, the last thing I'll say about the eye is it probably meant nothing, but I hope it meant something. So we'll see.
Yeah, and if you remember the Otega Oweh deal, he filmed his return before he left, and we know that because he went to the draft, he had the dreads. He went and got the fade when he went into the draft, get that professional look going. So maybe that video has already been prepped for Malachi, and to see what the draft and the combine would bring. So it'd be nice Wednesday afternoon, right before the show. Go ahead and drop that thing, Pope and Figure and all those other guys. Malachi drop that I'm back video and run it back for the sophomore season.
I'm back and Milan's joining me. Give me that video.
Double booms.
Yeah, give me that video.
Yep. And then all of a sudden we skyrocket right past Tennessee and their roster that they put together. But talk about Tennessee. Joshy Boy put in there, Tennessee needs to be doing the thing Will Wade's doing. Rick Barnes is doing the thing Will Wade's doing, putting together a roster, but he didn't have to go cheat and go to the NBA. He just go to the transfer portal and win that way. He didn't have to get all sleazy about it.
He did it.
Yeah, I got no beef with what Deacon has put together. Like I feel no need for any augmentation. I'm happy with it. But Josh Boy thinks we're going to stink, so he already predicted us to go 16th, to finish 16th in the SEC.
Surely he can't be right about everything.
Yeah.
Surely all of his negative comments, he can't be right about everything.
He picked y'all to finish. He can't be serious about that. He's got to be trolling.
He didn't say that. I'm just
okay.
I'm just giving him a hard time.
What are we seeing about Milan? You mentioned it. Hopefully, go ahead.
Joshua Boy asked if Moreno would be a good pick for your Lakers or his Lakers. Is he? I know he's tall. I personally don't think so, because Luka has expressed a desire to play with springy types. Mm-hmm. I don't remember Moreno being like he wants a lob threat. So like he's tall, so he's that kind of lob threat, but not like a Felix Akpara type lob threat, right? Like I think that's who Luka wants, like a Tyson Chandler type dude. Mm-hmm. That's who it seems to me like Luka wants to play with. I don't pay attention enough to Kentucky, but that didn't seem to me what Malachi was. He's just a good ball player who's very tall.
Yeah. He's not the springy catching lobs, running around. He's not like what we see with Chet Holmgren. Like that's kind of big that like Luka would prefer to play with. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to judge. Like, when guys get drafted, you're like, oh, that's a great fit. That's a great pick. And then 2 years later, you're like, what the hell was that general manager thinking?
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good situation for Malachi if he went to the Lakers. Playing with guys like Luka and Austin Reeves, and we'll see what LeBron does. Obviously, he's a free agent. Could he go back to LA? Could he go back to Cleveland? Could he go somewhere else for a year or something? We'll see.
He's not playing in LA next year.
Yeah, I would be shocked.
He might be.
JJ and Luka want him gone. You're going to find a way to get rid.
He might be playing in LA. It just won't be in a Lakers uniform.
Ooh, I don't think it'd be in a Clippers uniform either.
I saw a little Clippers teaser out there today, but people got to do things for clicks.
Oh yeah, they can make anything up, but I don't think that's as far fetched as what you might think.
Yeah, he wants to stay in LA.
I feel like if he's going to do it one more year, I feel like it has Cleveland written all over it.
He loves living in Cali. I mean, he intentionally chose the Lakers when he left Cleveland, not because it was the Lakers, but because it was Southern California and Hollywood.
He can live there. He can live there. You just got to give 1 year in Cleveland, Ohio. That's it.
Yeah, Josh, the whole time he'd be there, it'd be cold. So I don't know if he wants to do that.
I agree with you, Josh. I've actually been saying that about Akpara. Because the Jackson Hayes experiment is just not really working. It's not clicking. For some reason, he is the springy tall guy, but it's just not working. So they got to try on somebody else. I think Ipar would be a great fit there.
Yeah,
personally.
I think they'll take either Terrace Reed or Henry Vasir. From UConn and North Carolina, respectively.
Yeah,
I think that's their options.
Visar would be actually a pretty good pick for the Lakers, but they also could stay away from the big and go get like a, I don't even know off the top of my head, but they could go get like a wing or a 4 or something and use free agency to go.
You could use a 3-and-D guy too, for sure. If you're the Lakers,
well, Joshua Jefferson should be there if they wanted that wing type player. But do you think they would want to? Because I think Vasar is probably the best stretch big in the draft.
Yeah, I mean he's a beast. Yeah. I mean he's probably
because he can pull up and shoot threes too.
Yeah, and he can pass, he can dribble a little bit. He just has a good feel for the game. But like if you're the Lakers too, though, like you don't need to draft a big guy. They can do sign and trades. They can sign somebody in free agency. They can
we said that too when they traded Anthony Davis away that they can sign one. They still haven't. I mean, Jared Peabody is the closest thing that Vanderbilt is the closest thing that they have had to an actual center.
Well, they tried. Remember with the dude from Charlotte?
Yeah.
I mean, I think right now, yes, the answer would be Malachi would be a great fit. He would come in there and compared to what we've seen from Hayes and where Ayton is right now in his career, he would be the most athletic big there. He's not a lob threat like he's going to jump out of the gym, but you could absolutely use him in that way, and he's serviceable enough to eventually. Like I think his shooting form is serviceable enough to get to be a stretch. But again, there's a lot of work to get there. That's a 3-4 year plan, not a right now plan. If you got Luka, you probably plan for right now. So you go get someone who's polished and can get you.
I think as well, Malachi has a ton of potential, with every skill set in his game. So wherever he goes, he'll be a good fit if you factor in the potential wise.
Yeah, right now he's more your traditional center, which is not what the league wants. So if he can get a little jump shot, he can get to where he can take someone off the dribble a couple times. You can get him, stretch him out a little bit. That's just not who he is right now. But I hope he comes back and becomes that and works. The other thing he's really got to work on is his ability to facilitate. He's got to work on his assist game and his vision, passing out of the paint, coming from the top of the key. Just again, if you want to stretch the floor out, which the NBA does, you got to be able to pass, which is what these great bigs in the league right now are doing. But Milan, Momcilovic, Kentucky, Louisville, the two right now who are in play. I can't believe Louisville still got the freaking money to do it. I guess I should with Papa John's and all and everything, everybody they're bringing in. But $5 to $6 million is the number right now. I think he's that dude, right? I wanted Stokes over Milan. I thought Stokes had a lot more of his game. We didn't get it. The next best thing you can go get is Milan, right? We've seen what happens. He can get shut down from time to time. Tennessee did it. He was just a completely different player when they face guard him and put a lot of pressure on him. That being said, I think in Pope's system, where he spreads it out, he'll have the ultimate green light. It makes all the sense to come to Kentucky when you can pair him with Zoom and Wilkinson and Bray and Cam and all these other guys. Do we finally close, though, Drew? And I open up the Tennessee panel, too. Do we finally close on a big guy and bring him in and we could stop with the whole Pope with Pope's weird, Pope can't sit down and close deals, or Louisville, St. John's, or somebody other sleepers who are going to come here with a bunch of money and take them from us?
I hope so. I mean, obviously, I hope that we close. I think first with the Louisville thing, you ask about the money, I think we're actually seeing something, and I'm not talking about the team. I'll just talk about the financials, about what Kentucky had last year of, we saw how it turned out, but let's look at where we were preseason wise with Kentucky. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, like this team is crazy. I think you're seeing it like they probably do have the money, because I think a lot of fans and people are going to be like, we're already here. Like, we're going all in. And that's just one of the situations you see now in college sports. Like Ole Miss was like that last year in football. Like, we're going all in. Or I'm sorry, 2 years ago, Ole Miss was like that. And then they had a better year last year when they didn't. You've seen it like Florida next year. Like, they got to be having the mindset of like, we're going all in. Getting all these guys back obviously wasn't cheap. So I think the money would be there for Milan if he did want to come back. I think with Kentucky, I mean, number one, those quotes that he mentioned, like, that was a cherry on top of what I originally had thinking wise of like Kentucky's chances. Like, when he gave those quotes to the Lexington Herald leader, I was like, okay, I'm a fan of what he said, everything he said, talking about Pope as a good coach, even talked about Kentucky, like, and Coach Pope saying like they didn't even have the team that Coach Pope's good at. I love their system. He's a great coach. He would be a great coach for me. I'd be a great player for him. Those kinds of things. I think everything is there for him at Kentucky. Like, the spot is there. The money is there. The opportunity to play at Kentucky is there. And what that brings, I think if he pulls out, like, I think Kentucky's sitting there with like everything they possibly need, pitch-wise, financial-wise, role-wise, play style-wise, to go get him. The question mark comes down to can they go get him, and can they close on it? Like, that's what we got to see. But disregarding all of that as well, we still need him to pull out of the draft, which I think everybody kind of expects him to. But you never know. Sometimes these kids are like, screw school, I just want to go to the NBA, and I'm fine with being a middle to second round pick. And I guess if he does that, we could pull Will Wade next year and go get him. If it doesn't work out. So, no, all jokes aside, I mean, we'll see. Like, I think everything is there, and need him to pull out of the draft, and then Kentucky will close the deal. Like, come on, Mark, go close the deal, please.
Yeah, sorry. Lindsay's being inappropriate, making fart noises like a child. Anyways, I don't see him staying in the draft. Doesn't make any sense. You're making $5 to $6 million guaranteed or you go on hope you get on a 2-way contract and just, rot away. And he'll get development in the G League, but sorry, he's going to get better.
Yeah, he can do that.
And he's going to get more exposure. I think he's going to get better coming and playing SEC ball than he would go and play in the G League, to be quite honest. And it's the money piece, right? You got all this money, and you can negotiate your way to even some more. And that's just the NIL rev share money from the school. Like, who knows if there are other things you're going to bring. He comes and performs well. You get national deals, gets the tournament, those sort of things. Well, I'll ask the Tennessee side. I know Kentucky fans super excited about Milan coming and what he can offer. I don't know that you guys are super worried about him coming to Kentucky's roster based on what he saw at Iowa State. But I guess, what do you think? How do you think that stacks us up against your roster or the rest of the SEC, where I think we get Milan right now? I think we're in the top half of the SEC. We don't, or, we even without Milan, we're top half of the SEC. We get Milan, I think you could put us in potentially that top 4, right? With you in Florida, I don't know, and then in Arkansas, maybe your top 5. But who am I missing? Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas got to put together a decent roster.
They need their pieces to come back, though, or at least one of them between Billy
Richmond
and Billy Thomas.
But do you think Milan pushes at that point, or do you think he's just going to be overpaid? A guy who can only shoot and really can't do more than what he did against you at Iowa State?
Well, I don't think that he's going to face that intense of a defense week in, week out in the SEC. So, I definitely think he would be a good addition. to anybody's roster. And I don't say this to throw a jab, guys, but especially Kentucky's, with the lack of some of the big targets you went after and didn't get. Right? I'm not giving an opinion. I'm stating a fact that a lot of guys got out of Lexington or out of front of Mark Pope and never came back. So I think it would definitely boost. Would it put you top half? I'll say maybe, yeah. Just because of what I think Mark Pope is as a coach, I think top half of the SEC. I don't know where to rank it because I don't know what a lot of the other teams did.
Well, Texas is supposed to be super good all of a sudden, right? Texas and Florida, I think, are everybody's favorite to be the two best in the SEC.
Yeah. Well, if it's not softball, rowing, rugby, hobby horsing, basket weaving, and crocheting, I'm not putting any stock in Texas winning anything in the SEC.
You know how I feel about Texas, so I want all bad for them.
Yeah, everything bad happening to Texas. So, I don't think he'll be shut down. I mean, I think what we saw in the tournament game with Tennessee and Iowa State was a deliberate effort to remove his impact on that game. And, and we didn't have the defense we've had the past few seasons. We had a good defense and could be smothering at times, and they were the first couple games in the tournament, very much so. But you're not going to see that weekend. You won't see that from Alabama. You're not going to see that from douchebag Wade down there in Louisiana State. You're not going to see that from Peabody. Mississippi State, South Carolina, some of those teams, I mean, they're not going to be able to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, outside of a handful, one handful of teams, I think he's going to be great if he comes to Kentucky. That's just I'm not going to bash the guy. He was definitely a threat. That's why we had to neutralize him, and clearly it took a toll on their offense and their whole flow, how they played, because second half, Tennessee just put the hammer on them. No pun intended. But it's still not going to be as good as our roster, Rando. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I think
come
we're
on.
getting slept on. Slept on. Listen,
I'm not sleeping on your team. I'm saying there is no way that roster compares to ours.
Yeah, but to answer
if we
your
had
question,
landed Cam Williams this year,
if
listen, because he's already on the team.
Cam's
already on the team. If we would have pulled Cam this year as a top 30 transfer, gotten Braden Hawthorne this year as a top 30 recruit, they're on the roster right now. Then you talk about Malachi coming back. Then you get Zoom, who Drew. What was he? Was he a top 20 transfer?
I think he was around. Yeah, it was like the top 5 point guard too, or something like that.
You get him, then you get Wilkinson. You get all these players. You could sit there and line up and go, these are really two rosters, and then you would be, you could argue each one. I'm just saying, but because we didn't get those guys, and some of these dudes return, you didn't see Braden Hawthorne on there, but it's okay. We'll just keep stacking chips. I want y'all to think you got it all good. And then Kentucky going to come.
Because let's face it, Tennessee is 1-4 against Kentucky in the last 5 games.
I think the one thing that we keep going back to, and I have a problem of it as well, for the longest time, Rando, I mean, I was one of the most negative people you could find with what was going on with Kentucky basketball, for like a good 3-week stretch. I think part of it that I think a lot of people forget, and I'm not even saying it's just you two but like the national media as well, is I think everybody looks at our roster and they're like, oh, and I think part of that is because we see what Kentucky whiffed on, which they did. That doesn't mean that Kentucky still didn't fulfill some of those spots.
That's right. I wasn't saying that they're not going to be competitive. I just said if you look at rankings, there's no way you can compare Kentucky's roster to Tennessee's. But that doesn't mean Kentucky won't be good. We don't know if Tennessee's going to be good.
Exactly.
The chemistry has to be there.
On paper,
Josh Boy thinks they're going to suck. Ask T.
We know.
Yeah, on paper right now, I would still take Tennessee's roster by, I don't want to say like a large margin or like by a little bit. But then look, we got to play the game. So maybe Kentucky's roster is just the most perfect fit we've seen. And, Tennessee's roster doesn't. I think Tennessee also on paper has some bigger names. Like Juke Harris is a huge on paper name, a huge on paper. Yeah. The same way as like Tyron Stokes or even like a Milan Momcilovic would be. So I think that helps. But like, I'm still a little worrisome about Tennessee, like at that 5 spot, which that's the one big swing piece is like you have Malachi with Kentucky and then whatever Tennessee is at the 5 spot. That's the only way that I think you could make a case for Kentucky having a better roster with probably worse collectively in the backcourt and then at the 4 position. But the 5 spot is where I would be like, okay, that's maybe where things could shake up. But if you're talking just a full roster, yeah, I would take Tennessee's roster just by a little bit.
Yeah, but we all saw Texas A&M spend $30 million the first year of NIL on a football team, and how'd that work out?
Yeah, Jimbo was fired in 7 games or something. And it got the largest or top 3, whatever. I think it was the largest buyout in college football history.
Yeah. My boss paid me $96 million to not come to work. He'd never see my ass again.
Yeah, I don't know why Mark Stoops decided to go be a quality control coach or whatever he is at Texas. I would have been sitting in my basement drinking bourbon every day and watching birds fly around or something.
I bought my own island and went and sat on it.
I'd be playing with my money out in the basement or something.
Milan is value added. Anybody who shoots that good and is that tall is value added to anybody. He will not face the type of defense, to Hammer's point, and he only faced it from us because Jefferson was out. He wouldn't even have faced that against us if their All-American was in the game, right? We wouldn't have been able to put that kind of focus on him. And so as long as he's not the only piece of that exists in your offense like he was for Iowa State when we played him, he's going to get his chances. I mean, he's going to be just as potentially dangerous as Lundblade for us, I would think.
I 100% agree. Plus, he's got the size. It's going to be hard for somebody just to face guard him in the backcourt. I mean, what is it? That dude's he's like 6'9", 6'10",
6'8". He's a
he's a big guy. It's going to be tough for somebody to face guard him. There's not very many big guards in the SEC, and even if you bring a wing 6'8", forward up there, then you've got a mismatch someplace else. So he's a problem. He will definitely be a problem.
I think too, like this will be his 4th year. That dude's seen every single coverage you could possibly imagine when trying to take away a shooter. And we've seen it as well. Like Coach Pope did an incredible job coaching Kobe Brea, another guy. I mean, we think Kobe Brea is an elite shooter. Milan's in a whole different category as a shooter than the second when Kobe Brea walked on campus. Like Milan is head above heels a better shooter than what Kobe Brea was.
I mean, better percentages, and at a higher volume, right? That's what's crazy is the percentage he's shooting at the volume he shoots it at.
Yeah. So he's seen every coverage. I mean, there's ways you could probably take him out, but if you got guys playing around him, and if Malachi's back and he's playing well, and Zoom and Alex Wilkins are doing their thing as guards, like what T mentioned, I mean, a lot of that is because Jefferson was out. If he wasn't out, that changes a whole lot of things when you're just having to try to take. And what Tennessee was really they had to take just Momcilovic out of the game and then try to not let Taman Lipsey go crazy. And then from there with Iowa State, they were good, but they weren't like amazing. I mean, they were good because of Jefferson and the player he was with the pieces around him. You take Jefferson off that team. We saw with Kentucky, they played an incredible 8 minutes, and it looked like we were about to run them out of the gym. And the next thing you know, the whole thing flipped because they changed up coverages and were double teaming and, all those things. And then you have 20 turnovers and you have no chance to win a game. So, but yeah, Milan's seen everything. I mean, you could try to take him away, but he's seen every coverage. Pope's done a great job coaching shooters. So I don't really worry about teams taking him away. He could have bad games, but
I think with Milan, what I like about the roster, and if we get Milan, a reason why I'll put us up there with Tennessee and Florida and Alabama and Arkansas, depending on what pieces come back for them. in that top 5, competing easily for a top 5 spot in the SEC, is because the one thing that has hindered Pope's rosters in the first 2 years is not being multiple, right? They are we have a point guard in Jalen Lowe. We have a 2 guard in Otega Owe. And then, we had a 3 guard in Zeldin, and had to move him and he had to play. And then Cam has to come in and try to figure out how to play that 3, in that role and be a guy. Also, you have Colin Chandler, who was he could play the 2 or the 3, but wasn't a great ball handler. If we get Milan with what we have right now, we have multiple ball handlers, right? We have multiple dudes who are 6'6" plus. So, like, if we do have to go through the injury bug, it's the 3 and the 4 spot can be interchangeable with a lot of guys, right? Usman, Milan, Bray, Cam, McBride, right? You can switch that out. The one thing we don't really have right now is multiple at the center spot, unless Reese Potter is just a dude, right? Unless Reese Potter is a guy plus Kepnang, yeah, who I don't know. We'll see how polished he is at the 5 spot. He's a hell of an athlete, great defender. We'll see what he brings offensively.
Can he stay healthy?
Yeah, can he stay healthy? It's a good point. So I like the fact that we're big, we're long, and we have multiple guards who can handle the ball. If for some we have point guard issues again, and if we do lose someone, it's not going to be like Carr where he goes down that 4 spot and the offense just kind of dies for a little bit, right? We have multiple guys who can do that, but it all has to come together. So we'll see. I think Milan is going to jump out of the draft. Pope just has to do whatever he needs to do to get him on the roster. He cannot lose. He can't lose to PK. Can't happen. He can't lose to some other school. No St. John's come in at the 11th hour to beat him out. You have to be right now applying all the pressure, giving him what he wants money-wise, giving him what he wants on the court thing, and win this battle so that you can, at least for now, tame all the Pope can't close things, right? And then
where does it leave Kentucky, relatively speaking, to the SEC if they don't get him?
Probably, my opinion, probably like, well, what if Malachi does or doesn't come back? Are you assuming Malachi's back, or?
I don't know what to think of that. I don't think he's a first-round pick, and I think that's what he's expecting to go to the draft, and I don't think he's going to get that.
Go through all your scenarios. So say okay. Milan and Moreno come back. Say only one comes back.
Okay, so let's say both are at Kentucky. I would say probably I would put Kentucky around like 4th in the SEC. Let's say Malachi's back, Milan doesn't come. I would say Kentucky's probably somewhere between like 8 to 10. And then if we don't get both, like 12 or 13 probably. I think we would still beat like
bottom 4th.
Yeah, I think we would still beat like Mississippi State and like South Carolina, like those teams. But like, I mean, they could perform better, but like just my preseason expectation, that's kind of where I would have.
Yeah. I'll put it in terms of not so much rankings, but like SEC tournament. I think it's the easiest way for me to if we get Milan and Moreno, there's no reason why we should not have a double bye. We should avoid Wednesday, Thursday games, right? So we're playing on a Friday. If we only get one, I think it's going to be Moreno. So I'll play with that scenario where, okay, now we're a Thursday. Maybe Pope can put this roster together and we can, get a double bye, but more than likely we're playing on Thursday. We lose both, then we're, I think, guaranteed Wednesday, Thursday spot based off what Coach Pope could do, unfortunately. Like, I think if we get in the top 5 and we play on a Thursday, we look back, we had some good wins against some tough teams in the SEC, and we say, okay,
kind of like what we saw year 1. I think what Kentucky got was Kentucky the 8th seed in Pope's first year, but there was the conference was so crazy and chaotic. It was like a 3-game or like a 2-game difference from like 11th place to first place. So like I think we were all pretty happy about. No, I think Kentucky was.
We played on Thursday against Oklahoma. I think we were a fifth or sixth seed, I believe.
Maybe it
we
was
just and then Otega Oweh walked us off with that win to get us to play against Alabama. I think the next game we had nobody to go against with Bama. But I mean, honestly, that's how the SEC is going to be every year. I mean, as terrible as we say this last season was, we were a game away. We were a game away from being in that top 4 spot. You don't lose to Vandy by or Georgia. You get one of those games that we should have won, and we're right back in there in the top. Okay, Peanut was talking say we were a 6 seed. So
that was a respectable 6 seed though. Like
I agree. I mean, we were a 3 seed in the tournament. So you're a 6 seed in the SEC. You're a 3 seed in the big tournament. Obviously, it tells you how tight and how competitive the SEC was. But I think it's always going to be like that. You're going to be your clear front runners like Florida was last year, and then 2, 3, 4 are going to be very, very close compared to the rest of the roster. So that's how I will rank it. Is we get Milan and Moreno. We are a double bye in the SEC tournament. There should be no reason why we aren't. If we don't get, then we're looking at a Wednesday, Thursday type scenario, which I think we have to avoid. Pope has to avoid if he wants year 4. So that's where I'm at with that one.
Yeah, I hope we don't live in the world where they both are not here, because that would be absolutely brutal for all of basketball season.
I will concede at that point, Hammer, that yes, your roster is better than Kentucky's. I'll promise you that right now. We get neither one of them. I will be like, yep, you are correct. Tennessee put together a better roster. Deacon Barnes has outdone Coach Pope for now.
What a hot take that would be, too.
Yeah, yeah.
T and I won't remind you of it every show. Don't worry.
Hey, as long as Will Stein keeps beating Tennessee out for college football recruits, I don't know, man.
We got to beat him on the field now, but
it's true.
One time doesn't make a trend, Rando. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, but he's doing it for a lot of schools. Georgia 1 week.
Here's the other thing, though. You are not building a winning football team this coming season through high school recruiting. Like that's good and that's helpful, but and I don't know how y'all did in the portal, but you got to build through the portal.
Yeah, and I hate that high school recruiting has taken such a backseat to transfer portal, because I used to love it. I don't even bother hardly keeping up with it now because it's almost pointless. You're basically recruiting a player for somebody else to take in a year or two.
Exactly, and because people have forgotten, Tennessee had like a top 5 high school signing class. Like our signing class was off the chain, and nobody's talking about it because high school, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
What were we, Drew? 7 for the high school recruiting class. We were in the top 10. I know for sure
right now.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky. I think 247 Sports has it said somewhere between 8 to 10. If I'm not wrong, I think it's somewhere around there.
I think Kentucky fans are just astonished because that doesn't happen at Kentucky, right? Stoops had some decent classes and he did okay in the transfer portal from time to time, but never have we been in a top 10 recruiting class. Will Stein's first year coming in here and such. And you're right, it's not going to come to fruition right away, but I mean, Will Stein's a long-term solution at Kentucky. He's going to be here for that first contract easy. I imagine the way he has him moving right now, he'll be here for 5, 8, 10 years, especially if he's able to win early. But he's building something here. I mean, you can't deny that. You can't look at what he's done in the portal and what he's doing with the coaching staff and what he's doing in freshman high school recruiting. He's building something at Kentucky, and he like Drew said, he's got to win the ball games. And the bar's not set super high this year. You get 6 wins, people are going to buy in real quick. You get 7 wins, everybody's going to be losing it. That means you got an LSU win, you got an Alabama win, you got a Tennessee win. So it's not like you got to go.
247 has y'all at 60.
No, that was for this year.
Next year. Okay.
Yeah, the 27 rankings have you at 11.
That one's unfair though. Will Stein got literally hired the day of his first day on the job was high school signing day. So
yeah,
he pretty much just took over what Stoops guys wanted to sign or already were signed and said, if you guys want to come here, great. If you don't, I get it. But yeah, for 27 class.
The 27 class that's not close. Like we've not finished signing day for 27, correct?
Yeah,
we haven't
exactly. I mean, that's the big
yeah.
like we gotta they gotta hold on to these guys because if
you guys are number 11 right now in the 2027 ranking. Tennessee's 29th.
Oh, really? Okay.
If anybody cares, I don't.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. You got to hold on to these guys, and then for a lot of them, like I think the way college coaches think too, like you hope that 50% of them hit and they work out. And then you're able to keep those guys that do hit. Yeah. There's going to be multiple guys in this class that we're looking at. I mean, I don't want to say it and speak it into fruition, but like it could be Jake Nallroth, the number 2 quarterback in the country. Like next thing you know, we look up 2 years from now, he hasn't taken a snap at Kentucky and he's in the portal playing at a Group of 5 school or something. Like the football recruiting, it's so hard because you don't know how these guys translate ever. It's so much different than basketball. And there's no immediate impact either for 95% of these guys. Like when you get Tyron Stokes, you know he's your dude day one in college basketball, or go down the list of the guys that we've had at Kentucky. When it's football, like we won't see half of these guys. We'll probably see a couple of them their sophomore year. And then by the redshirt sophomore year, junior year, we'll see a lot more of them depending on the ones that hit. And then the ones that don't hit, they'll be out of there. And then some of them that do hit, they'll probably enter the portal too, so they can go get money from Alabama or Georgia or something as well. So it's such a hard thing to follow. It's so exciting because we've never seen anything like it. But at the same time, like we got to remember the context and the things that go on in college football and the way that it is. And I mean, I hope they're all hit and they're all great, but we'll see.
Hammer, I hadn't texted you about it or whatever, but to me, this signals a change from Heupel too, because like Heupel has not been historically known to be a very portal aggressive individual. And the fact that he's not trying to get into bidding wars for high schoolers now. I don't know, there's not been any releases or anything, but to me that signals like, all right, this money's going to have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And to me that means the portal.
Yeah, and if you look at how he built the defense in the portal this year, that speaks volumes to it as well, is because they went and got guys that didn't think Tennessee was going to be able to land. And I think Jim Knowles' hire played a role in that, because we did exactly what we needed to do. I was very critical early on, not that we weren't doing anything, but of what we needed to be looking at and addressing, because we were pretty quiet the first few days of the portal.
Yes.
And Ball Nation was losing their mind. That what's he doing? He's not doing anything. There was people ready to fire Heupel 12 hours into the portal because he hadn't signed anybody yet. But he got one of the things I said was critical is he needed a player at each level of the defense that has played for Knowles somewhere, whether that was Penn State, Ohio State, wherever. And we got that. And we got 4 guys that played for him at Penn State, and I think 1 guy that played for him at Ohio State. So that was key, because it's well known his defense is very complicated and complex, and those guys can help bring along, the current players, young guys, whatever that looks like. So he did a phenomenal job putting that together. And some of the big names he got that were really hot transfer portal, targets, everybody got to breathe a sigh of relief, got excited. Now Heupel's a hero again. So,
yeah. So I'm really curious to see. Like, I don't want to fast forward past this season, but I'm really curious to see what his next offseason attack and approach will be, because I think it's going to be different. The same way we saw Barnes adjust this year, I think we're gonna see Heupel adjust too. So, I mean, trying to look at it neutrally, obviously that matters for Kentucky, because like you said, this is kind of uncharted territory to be ranked this high and all that. And you do have to get high school recruits, like it matters. But I think I think what we're going to see from Tennessee is a shift and more of a focus on the portal than the high schoolers. Because again, we brought in this super dope high school class, and like y'all have said, we're not going to see probably 70% of them play one snap because when their time comes, they're going to be in another uniform.
Yeah, and how many freshmen make a major impact on a football team?
Rare.
Yeah.
It's not many. I mean, yes, there are some. We've seen them. But it's rare. And so you've got to get guys that are proven that physically have developed to play, because those are grown men out there. Don't let anybody fool you when they say our kids or, this kid from wherever. It ain't a kid. 6'6", 290 is not a kid.
We both to see. Let's remember that.
That's right. So, this guy looks like he's got a beard and probably smokes 2 packs a day and, lays bricks on the side in the summers or something. So, yeah, these ain't children that are out there playing. These are grown men. And even the biggest of high school kids, it's tough to come in and play against these behemoths that are 23, 24, 25 years old, right out of the gate. So I 100% T, it's the future is building out of the portal. That's your reload. You can lay foundation with these young guys, but good luck getting them to stay.
Yeah. Peanut Butter Posse asked y'all a good question. Curious.
Yeah. So I don't think it's the blue blood thing. I think football. I think the blue blood, or your perennial college football, your Georgias, your Bamas, Ohio State, Michigan, Texas. I think they're always going to win in recruiting and portal. They're going to have the money, and I think playing for them and the exposure will play regardless of expectation. I think Will Stein's success in recruiting in the portal so far is because he's got a proven track record at Oregon, right, and putting dudes in the NFL, especially at the quarterback position. He plays and coaches an exciting brand of football, right, what folks want to play. And he's young enough to still connect with these guys, right? And he has a coach, put together a coaching staff. So I think that's why, hey, dude, I play an exciting brand of football. It works for these dudes, guys who weren't supposed to make it to the league or make it to the league. I turned Bo Nix into a forgotten thing, and now he's a stud in the league right now. And again, he just listen to him talk and how he connects the fan base. I think he does the same thing with families and players and whatnot. So I think that's why he's successful, and I think that's why he's going to continue to be successful.
I think something else too that we have to remember is he's got a huge new coach bump as well. When that happens a lot, when you're a brand new coach at a school, especially Kentucky with his energy and stuff, somehow you just throw stuff out there and you're all excited and whatever, and guys latch onto it. It's also very easy for him to sell Kentucky and sell the vision of Kentucky when he hasn't coached a game yet, because nothing's out there. All that's being sold on Kentucky, there's no proof of concept of anything, good or bad. And so he can just the good and the good and the good, and there's nothing to push back on, right? There's nothing for other schools to negative recruit against. There's nothing for seeing this or seeing that or hearing this or hearing that in the locker room or on the field or anything. It's all brand new. It's wide open. Like you said, Rando, he has great energy. He can connect to the players that we've seen, but there's nothing holding him back at all that could be, as of right now, that could be used as a negative thing against him. He hasn't coached a game. He hasn't won a game. He also hasn't lost a game either. So there's all this newness and there's new energy. There's fresh blood all over the program. And, when you have that, people want to be a part of it, and especially when you're selling a good vision, it's just what I come back to as well and I'll say it until, he does, he still needs to go win games. That's the most important thing at the end of the day, is to go win games. And hasn't won a game yet as a head coach, but he also hasn't lost one either. So we'll just see that. But I think that's important to note too. When you're a new coach at a program, especially like Kentucky, and it's not just because he's from Kentucky as well, and he has connections. He can enlighten in the way we see him. He's the same way with donors of what you're mentioning, Rando, with the the players and the fan base and all those things, like the donors as well. Like he's gotten everybody juiced up and excited, and guys want to be a part of it right now. And hopefully they are in the future, because all of that's still going on top of winning games and competing, and guys want to sign up to be here. So,
what's a win? I know it's early, but what's a win total projection from you two guys on Kentucky this season?
No less than 6.
I would say, like safe bet, I would say probably 5. Like I would feel comfortable with Kentucky at least having 5 wins. I would say if they can get to 6 and we get to a bowl game, I'll take that as a success any day of the week with the schedule we have. I mean, our schedule is absolutely brutal.
Yes, it is.
I mean, brutal.
Hammer, I am going to get to 7 before we have our official prediction thing.
Dude, you'll be at 9 wins before we have our official prediction thing.
I will get to 7 wins because I have this feeling in my gut that we're beating Lane Kiffin and LSU at home.
But something of this team and Will Stein does get – I don't know. They kind of gave me this like team of destiny and going to go out there and win 8 games or something. But there's so many question marks of that I can't talk myself into yet, of like even talking myself into like 7, 8, or 9 wins. Like,
give me an hour, Drew. I'll get you there. Just give me an hour.
You realize what the line is in Vegas for win total for Kentucky?
It's probably 4.5 or 5.5, right? I would say 4.5 or 5. Yeah, 4.5. Yeah, I'm hammering the over. I'm hammering it.
I think 5 is.
And I will be in Virginia, so I can actually do it. I will send you the slip.
I think it's 5. I think it's the ceiling.
I think the ceiling is like 7, maybe 8, but like that would be like Kenny Minchie just hitting and being.
Yeah, he would have to have a Gunnar Stockton type freshman's year.
We don't know what Coach Stein is as a head coach. We also don't know what our quarterback is, but it all. I mean, if we go off of what Will Stein has had in quarterbacks the last 3 years, and he's awesome, and then like our running backs stay healthy, because that's a huge key as well with CJ Baxter and Javonte Barnes. But like, I mean, realistically, I see like 5 wins. If they can get to 6, great. I'll take that any day of the week. And then if you get anything more on top of that, build them a statue or something. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I think it's 5, and 6 would be. I think you have to be happy with 6.
Yeah, if it
where you were to where you are and where you think Stein can take you, I think 6 would be 6 in a bowl would be a good first step. I agree.
With the schedule, with the uncertainty at a lot of positions, with the fact again he's never coached a game as a head coach. All of these things, 6 wins in a bowl game. I don't even care if you win or lose the bowl game, to be honest. But making it to a bowl game.
Yeah, they don't matter anyway.
Yeah, who cares? And then
I'm honestly where I'm at right now with where he has the fan base and what he's brought in, and again, the energy he's bringing. I would be disappointed with anything less than 6 wins, right? And I just said the ceilings isn't super high.
That's a good
6 wins. I don't think 6 wins is a high ceiling. That means again that's winning the games you're supposed to and surprising folks with 1. So that's Bama ? Do I think we win that game? No. Even at home, I think Bama's still going to Bama. LSU, I just said I really think we can get that one done. Just because
I think Bama's more attainable than LSU is.
I think DeBurr's on a mission, and I think we're gonna catch Lane Kiffin sleeping, to be honest. And then Louisville, get that one right. I can't pick Kentucky against Tennessee, especially in Neyland. I do it every year, and it comes back to bite me. I'm gonna learn my lesson. But I mean, there's 3 games that is listed off right now that are gettable. You win the other ones that you're supposed to. You can get to 6.
What are you supposed to?
I think the wins. We have 2 guaranteed, right, with the group of 5, or at least should be guaranteed. I'll preface that should be guaranteed. And then you have Florida, Mizzou, and Louisville. Probably those are the swing games. You have to win those if you're going to get the 6 wins. I can't even remember like Oklahoma on the road, that's a loss. A&M on the road, that's a loss. Tennessee on the road, that's a loss just based off history. So you have like a couple guaranteed wins with the group of 5 or should be.
Hey, Anthony out here preaching.
And then you have some guaranteed losses more than likely. And then you have a huge gap of like games that if you win them, it's a huge swing piece. And if you lose them, it's a huge swing piece. But to Rando's point of what he said, like, I think 6 or if you win 5 games or less, that's a total disappointment. And if you win 6 games or more, total success. And I think that's kind of a crazy concept because it's a 1-game difference. But I think it matters so much of just the trajectory of the program. Like you have to keep positive going. Young coach, new coach, all these things. Getting to a bowl game is so important. And if Kentucky just does that, it's a success of year 1. And then from there, you can start to see the trajectory. But because look, let's be real. Kentucky's not going to – everybody likes to say it, and even Kentucky fans do. Oh, is Kentucky the next Indiana? No. Kentucky's not making the playoffs in year 1 and losing 1 game and going to the college football playoff and then going to win the national championship in year 2. It's just hopefully in like 4 or 5 years, Kentucky can get to the point to where they're like knocking on the door to at 9-3 or 10-2 to potentially slide themselves in the college football playoff. But there's a long way to go until then. You're just hoping for a positive trajectory and keep building this thing. And at some point, hopefully you put together all the pieces to like actually go and knock on the door and see what you can do.
T, here's my you should wins. Like you get these ones done. Youngstown State, win. South Alabama, win. South Carolina should win that game.
Why? I don't agree.
No,
that's a game. No, I'm sorry. It's a game that you should. It's a game you should win.
I don't agree.
No,
Vanderbilt. They don't. That's a game you should win.
No.
Florida right now at home. We're playing them at home. They got a worse situation than what we got right now. You should win that game. And then Missouri, you should win that. 6 games that you should win with what Will Stein brought in.
Missouri either. At Missouri in November, it's brutal.
Yeah,
you got to beat 3 SEC teams to get to 6 wins, Rando.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Louisville
or 4.
I'm just telling you right now how I feel.
And I hear you, but
South Carolina at South Carolina, you should win that game. I'm tired of losing to Baby Beamer.
Yeah, I hate.
It's not Beamer you're going to lose to. It's Lenora Sellers you're going to lose to.
He's not good. Lenora Sellers is not a good quarterback. He is not a good. I've been saying this since last year, and I was right.
He's a damn good.
He's a great athlete. Great athlete. He is not a good.
You don't have to be a good quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, what is quarterback? What is that? Johnny Manziel is not a good quarterback. And just like.
Stop, don't disrespect.
Lamar Jackson.
Johnny Manziel is not a good quarterback.
He was a great college quarterback. Lenora Sellers isn't even a good college quarterback. He's not.
He's not. Have to be. He's had 1 good year and 1 bad year. So like you can't.
If you make Lenora Sellers a pocket passer, you will win that game. That's all. Just don't let him run. Which we did that.
That's so much easier said than done.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts.
And we made Lamar Jackson. We fumbled the ball, and we won that game.
I never should have brought that up.
It's doable.
I apologize, T.
I'm just you could convince me that maybe late against Missouri, I'm not sold on it. By that point, we should be in full swing. And if Mitchie's a guy that is the second to last game of the season. We should be playing for something at this point. Like that's one where you should win because you're playing for a bowl game or you're playing for a crazy 7-8 win season. I agree with at Texas A&M. You probably expect to lose that one, unfortunately. And I didn't include the one I thought we were going to get in LSU. That's a hope game. At Oklahoma, you lose. At Tennessee, you lose. But I feel like, again, they have a first-year coach at Florida right now. He got a worse situation than what Will Stein got as far as money-wise. Better program, but just worst off situation and what all have left and where the program was.
They brought back a lot of really good players, though, too. That
Did they? Because or were they just terribly coached? Because they were the great players last year that just didn't play well. So
I think similar to Auburn. Auburn was so talented last year.
Yes, Auburn was very talented last year.
Hugh Freeze was such a joke coach.
It's just the problem is you're not going to be favored in any conference game because
maybe Vanderbilt.
Every single one of these. So now Vanderbilt's win total 6.5. So unless the wheels fall off,
true.
None of it. Nobody on your schedule is projected to be under 500. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say that we can get that one or we can get that one when Vegas says you're not going to get it. You're going to get somebody.
Yeah, and they don't put up those big buildings in Vegas because they get it wrong a lot.
But, and I'm not basing it solely on that. I'm basing it based on when and where these games are played.
And for the Florida game, you could say, and
I hope you beat the hell out of Florida.
John Summerall, and John Summerall, it has been a head coach before, right? So maybe that gives him a leg up on Stein. I'm just looking at what we got, man, and
I think there's so many swing games that it could go so well for Kentucky or it could go so bad. I mean, if you want to get to 6, you got to at least win those swing games and then take your losses with the losses that you're going to have. And then you got to get the easy wins too. Like you got to beat Youngstown and the South Alabama is the other. Like you got to beat those teams at least. Like you can't drop those games.
You gotta win all the non-cons to even have a prayer of getting to 6.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that includes Louisville. So
and believe me, I despise Peabody in Florida and Bama much worse than I have any vitriol for Kentucky football. So
I know how tough the schedule is, right? And you just read it off. We're not going to be favored in any of these games. But for as tough as the schedule is, you're getting the recipe for an upset. You're getting a recipe for a crazy. What are you saying?
I was just responding to Steve real quick. He's logging out, so I said thanks.
Oh,
shout out,
thanks
Steve.
for watching, brother. Thanks for watching. We'll wrap this thing up. But like what I was getting at, you're getting Bama at home. You're getting LSU at home. You're getting Vandy at home.
Hey, Rando, timeout. With the Alabama, that's one that I'm looking at as a huge swing potentially for the season. I've said it all along, DeBoer for some reason sucks early in the season for whatever reason. I don't know why, but his teams always suck. He also might be rolling into Kroger Field, which I know isn't. It's going
to be hopping. It's going to be
hopping, but it's not like it's not Bryant-Denny Stadium or something. But Kroger Field's going to be lit. And there's a chance that they're going to start a quarterback that has zero experience in a situation like that. We saw it last year with Austin Simmons. When he walked into Kroger Field, his eyes he threw 2 horrendous picks. Ty Bryant both picked him off. I was at the game. Kentucky had every opportunity to win that game against Ole Miss last year, and Stoops completely botched the fourth quarter with all kinds of stuff. Clock management, field goals, all these things. That is a game
Arch Manning looked terrible in Kroger last year.
So Kentucky, that Alabama game, if they can win that, first off, you're 2-0. Huge momentum toward like that right there is when you get your team to fully buy in. If you can win a game like that, your team is fully locked in the locker room. Vibes are extremely high. Fan base is behind you. Tickets are being sold. All these things, right? If you lose that game, you're probably starting the year 1-2 because you're going to lose. If you can't beat Alabama at home, you're losing on the road in Kyle Field at A&M. So then you're 1-2. And the biggest fear that I have, and it can be a positive of your team quitting, and it can be a negative. How can Will Stein in the tough moments handle a locker room and manage a team when things are going south? He's never done it before. And that's the one thing as a head coach that doesn't get talked about a lot is can he keep the guys motivated? Can he keep them locked in? Can he keep them disciplined? Because the second the wheels fall off, who's everybody look at? The head coach. And we saw it. Mark Stoops was one of the worst at it. The second Kentucky lost their first game of the year, all the wheels fell off year after year. Multiple losses stacked. The next thing you know, you look up at Kentucky's 7-5, when realistically they should have probably been at the peak of the Stoops era, could have been a 9-10 win team, but you lose a game. Like I remember the 2000. It was Levis's.
The Missouri game.
They lost to Tennessee. Punt. They lost to Tennessee. Then the week after, they lost to kind of a bad Mississippi State. They lost 3 in a row. Yeah, they went 9-3, and then the year they won the bowl game, like they lost to Tennessee in that all-out classic game. It was like 45-44 or something like that. It was a great game, and then they lost 3 in a row. And then you get back. Every year Stoops lost the first game. Every time they had their first loss, all the wheels fell off. So, like, can Will Stein do that as a head coach? I think that Alabama game is going to be a massive tell for what we potentially have with Kentucky football this year.
Yeah, we'll see. The recipe is there. All these high-profile games that we're going to care about, Bama, outside of Tennessee being at Neyland, Florida coming there against Summerall, Kentucky, they're all at home. So you're gonna have the advantage that you're talking about. So you got to get one or a couple of those. I don't think Will Stein's gonna have the problem. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of pressure, even if this is a 4-win season. We don't hit the over on the Vegas line. It's not like everybody's gonna give up on him. He's still gonna have, he's just gonna go hit it again. He'll still have the money there. He's going to have a couple years of grace to get him there. And it's just the new AD is going to have to accept him, all those other things. I think he's going to be fine. Now we get 3 years down the road and we're still not getting to the 6, 7, 8 win game or seasons. Yeah, then we're going to be a problem. I don't know. I'm fully bought in. It doesn't take me. It's not hard for me to get there. T and Hammer know. But I'm fully bought in on Will Stein, and I do think while you.
Go ahead.
I said you mentioned before there's nothing to negatively recruit against Will Stein, and there's no negative. He hasn't coached a game yet, but I think all the positives are there because he has all the positive things to say. Look what I've done at Oregon. The only thing he hasn't done at Oregon is finally like gotten over the hump, and that falls on the head coach really. Like he's like I've put offenses and quarterback and systems in a college football playoff year after year after year. I send guys to the league. All the things that I'm doing is working. I just need you to help me get over that next step. I just need to be in the SEC to get over the next step. It's a big swing, but hopefully he gets there. But as we come up on 2 hours, we'll go ahead and close this thing out. Tennessee, are y'all ever going to put a TBT game together, like a squad? Y'all need to get involved in this $2 million prize, man. I'm tired of having to beat up on Louisville every year.
Told you we tried once. It did not go well.
You gotta get dudes who want to buy into it. Like
Ziegler would for sure play in it.
Yeah, get him a first class ticket from China wherever he's playing right now. Come back, he'll play in it.
He probably would, but yeah.
You could get Fulkerson back. I was telling T last weekend, most hated Vol ever. I could not stand John Fulkerson. Vescovi would play. I hated that dude too. That dude pissed me off.
Folky's whole issue is he started feeling himself his last year. He got on some little preseason watch list and all that, and he thought he was better than he was. And he had a very final season.
Yeah, but as big as Kentucky fans get when Willie comes back and all these other guys, could you imagine if like Admiral came in and was like, "Hey, I'm putting together a team," and they don't even have to be all Tennessee alumni. Like just you have one guy who kind of goes. I mean, we had dudes playing for Kentucky who were relatives of Kentucky guys, or just where was what was old boy's name from the last year's team?
DJ Burns.
DJ Burns. Yeah, DJ Burns. So you can put a team together just under the Tennessee, the volunteer thing. Y'all need to get involved in this, man. It's fun. I got my tickets for TBT. I'm going to Memorial. I'll be back on the East Coast, July 18th. I will be there. So watch our boys smack Louisville around again. It's always fun. But T, you need to figure that out. Hammer, I know go to the Vol shop and tell them, hey, we need to get some alumni together playing this thing, so we have something to talk about in the off season.
Well, I'll shoot my buddy Danny White a message and see what I get back.
There you go. Say, stop worrying about the entertainment center, dude. We need a TBT team. $2 million.
Is there any update on Tennessee quarterback situation too? I was gonna jump in when we were talking about football, but has there been any news or anything with the quarterback situation?
it's going to be Faison. But no,
yeah,
there's no news.
No official news. What we get is some a little bit of tidbits and snippets from reporters that watch practice. It's going to be Faison, because at this point, if if he's not picked the offense up and can run the offense, then we're going to play Faison, and because Josh Heupel's going to put the ball in the hands of the person he trusts with his offense the most, and I think that's clearly Faison right now. So, and I would rather, if we're going to go 5-7, 6-6, 7-5, whatever that looks like, I'd rather do it with a freshman learning on the job than a guy that's going to play half the season, get hurt, or get benched and have no shot of anything. So, I mean, I think we can. I think 7-5, 8-4 is probably where it's going to land, barring some heroic effort by the defense. And I think the defense will be really good. I just think this is going to have to be a throwaway year. But all those people that wanted Brendan Sorsby, that roasted me for saying it wouldn't be a good pickup out of the portal.
Yeah, look how that turned out.
I
bet you're happy he's not here now.
No doubt, a lot of schools are happy they lost out on the Sorsby sweepstakes, as he is battling right now to get his eligibility back. I think he's going to lose that one, and he should lose that one.
Cooked.
Great name drop, peanut butter. Ron Slade, great name drop.
Ron Slade, yeah, get him out.
He's
to play
great on TV. He's great on TV.
Hey, now actually, I can reach out to Ron Slade. So,
let's get him on a happy hour show. We'll have Slade on happy hour show.
I don't know contractually if he can do that, but I can ask him.
Yeah, we'll find. No one watches this anyways. It'd be cool. We just get on here, but just the boy. Just the boys talking. But all right, y'all, I appreciate it.
We know y'all watch. You matter to us.
Yes.
You don't matter to Rando, but y'all matter to us. And we appreciate
100%, man. That's the only reason I do it is for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Well, we'll see you on Saturday, speaking of happy hour. And then on Saturday, when does it? I think so. Saturday. I should know this stuff. I'm trying to sell freaking merchandise. I don't know, but at some point this week, State Line is dropping their baseball stuff. Not very good if baseball does not make the postseason, but the Script K and the pinstripe that they're dropping, super dope. So even if Kentucky baseball doesn't make the postseason, go check them out. All UK Ball 25, get you 25% off from StateLineCo.shop. And then our favorite merch store on the internet, bluegrass-elite.com. Get all your heavy pour sports, your border rivals, your all UK ball merch, including the Feed the Stud jersey, which you can customize yourself, put whatever you want on the back, even if it's trademarked by Kentucky, put it on there. No one's going to know. Go scan that QR code, heavy pour 15, get you 50% off and free shipping. It's time to cut it up. As always, go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Big Orange.
Go Vols.
Peace. Play the
on a whole nother level. Let's get it. Run it up. Check the scope. Money talk, money mo. Yeah. Make who say they with it. Kicking down the door. Run it up. Check the scope. Money talk, money mo. What? Make who say they with it. Kicking down the door. Let's go. And it's just the whole lane when I'm driving the machine.